everyone, and welcome back to All Things Star Wars, the greatest Star Wars podcast in the galaxy. I'm Mr. Jason Roscom. With me here in spirit, keeping our social distancing for yet another week, the Darth Vader to my Palpatine, Dave Martin. Hello, Dave.
Hello, Jason.
How are you?
I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
I am, back in social distancing mode.
Yeah.
And, fucking...
I don't think it was actually necessary this week, but just circumstances being what they were, it was just easier to do this remotely. Once again, we finally got all of our audio issues working last week, so we figured, fuck it, we'll just do it again, make it a lot easier on both of us.
Right, and we could record straight out of the software, right?
Yeah, sure.
You're supposed to be able to do that.
Yes. No. We do. In that fact, that was the audio for last week's episode. But that being said, want to address something. It's been brought to our attention that, yes, episode 145, I believe, is not showing up in the audio stream. If you subscribe only to the audio podcast, 145 isn't in there. Unfortunately, that was our first episode doing both this remote and me using my new microphone. Audio was completely fucked throughout the course of that episode. I tried to clean it up as best I could. Still sounded terrible. I could not, in good conscience, fucking release that as an audio episode. I apologize. If you still want to hear what we had to say, you can always hit up the YouTube channel. It's still on there, and you'll hear how shitty my audio sounds. So you'll see why I didn't release it. But yes, that's why episode 145 is not showing up and will never show up in the audio stream. So
we are nothing if not professionals, and was obviously it wasn't a professional enough airing of the show to make the air.
Yeah. So that being what it is, so we actually had some news this week. In fact, it just broke this morning. So Disney announced that on May the 4th, which is next week, our 3-year anniversary, by the way.
Fucking next week. Jesus Christ.
I know. So on May the 4th, The Rise of Skywalker is coming to Disney Plus. I think it's like 3 months early. I think it was scheduled to go in August. Wait, May, June?
2 months.
July, August. 2 months early?
Yeah. Well, that's what the article I read said.
Okay.
Released 2 months early.
Some number of months early. Regardless, they're taking pity on those of us that are, again, stuck at home who didn't buy the home video, which I did already. But yes, if you have been waiting for whatever reason to get your home video copy of Rise of Skywalker, now you just have to wait another week and watch it on Disney Plus to your heart's content.
Which, hey, I have not bought my copy yet, which I still will. I'll still buy the copy when I have a little bit more flexibility. But it was the... I was shocked, to be perfectly honest. When I logged in and I saw that was a thing, I was like, holy shit. Like, what a great May the 4th announcement that is.
I know, right?
Like, for the lead into something like that. Like, hey, because we've speculated, like, what are they actually going to be able to talk about, right? For May the 4th, like, you know, they're pushed off a bunch of series and shit like that. So, like, what are they really going to give us?
Plus, we still have Celebration later this year, allegedly, if it happens, if it doesn't get canceled.
If it happens. But yeah, I think to think that we're going to get it, like, basically Disney Plus has just validated itself yet again for having this capability. It's like, hey, not only can we like release this whenever the fuck we want, right? They could have released it the day after the movie fucking came out if they really had wanted to.
No, but you know they're going to get their extra money for the...
Agreed, but this just shows that they control the flow of what happens with these things. I'm like, oh, hey, we can put this out early, drive more people to Disney Plus to be able to, like, marathon all the movies without ever leaving the same streaming icon. It's fucking brilliant. I was really surprised and excited for it. So... I'm distracted by the chat.
Yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, no, exciting news. I saw it as soon as I woke up this morning and I pulled up my Instagram feed and boom, there it was. I'm like, oh shit. You know, whenever you see Star Wars has posted a new video and it's like front and center on your feed, you're like, oh, this is something. So yeah, exciting stuff. Good job, Disney. Moving on. Yes, next week May the 4th. It is our 3rd anniversary. We debuted May the 4th, 2017. So it's been 3 freaking years that we've been doing this now, which is really weird to think.
It's funny, and if you're watching this on the YouTube stream, in the upper right hand corner, you have our logo. It says, doing it live since 2017. It's fucking crazy, A, to think that 2017 was 3 years ago.
Right.
B, that we've been doing this shit for that fucking long is insane. It's absolutely insane. But cheers to you, my good sir, for keeping us going for
yes,
clinky.
Yeah, because I mean we've been through a lot in these 3 years, with me going down to San Antonio and Mississippi for a year, and just like you changing, like massive changes in your life, retiring from the Air Force, getting a new job, becoming the Grand Wizard at your lodge, so it's been a lot of life changes in these few 3 years. And then of course the following that we've gotten, all of our loyal listeners, and people that we're still picking up every week. It's just awesome to see all of these people that are coming along with us for the ride.
Yeah. It's very strange. It's very surreal, and we'll talk more about that when we get to the 150th, I'm sure.
Right. So, and that's the thing I want to distinguish, because next week is our 3-year anniversary, but our 150th episode, where we're actually doing a celebration, we're going to make it about the listeners.
We're going to
have a bunch of call-ins. That's still going to be episode 150. So that's still 3 weeks from right now. So next week we're doing Clone Wars, but I don't think we're going to. I don't think we're going to do much as far as our 3-year anniversary. We'll probably mention it again, I'm sure. But the big celebration comes in 3 weeks when it's episode 150.
150.
So that be that. Anything else on May the 4th? I haven't heard of anything else that's going to go on or anything like that.
I mean, honestly, I've been so busy. I haven't really had a chance, except for, like you said, like when Disney puts something out and then it's like, bam, it's front and center. That's something different. Excuse me. That's when, it kind of jumps out at you. It's like, oh shit, something really happened. And I was actually kind of surprised that it had been out for an hour before I saw it. And I was like, I got into the cantina, and usually everyone in cantina beats us to the news.
Right.
And today I just happened to like put something out there. So it's exciting stuff all the way around.
Yeah. So, speaking of Disney announcements, something that Disney has not announced lately are any new shows in development. You may read everywhere on the internet that there's new shows in development. There's all kinds of new people, showrunners that have been signed on to develop new shows. Nothing announced by Disney. So, don't put much stock into any of this shit.
Nothing. Honestly, I put something out there about I think Lunar Girl had posted something about, hey, we got this covered, had posted this. Well, honestly, we got this covered is about as reliable as the fucking North Korean fucking national press. Like I don't believe anything that comes out of there. In fact, I'm going to probably lean towards the opposite of whatever fucking those North Korean idiots put out. And that's what we'll call them from now on. We got this covered. Welcome to the North Korean fucking press pool. Because I just don't. Every time they've put something out, it's just been fucking nonsense. They don't know what they're talking about. And I feel it's this way with the Ahsoka stuff.
Yeah.
I think there was some legitimate posts that had come out from Star Wars or Del Rey or something like that. I happened to be like sniffing through Instagram. And somebody had put in there like, I get the hatred for the sequel trilogy. It finally pushed this person to the point where, like, you know what? There's new canon coming out. I don't want Ahsoka. I don't care. Like, let's just fucking put this shit behind us and fucking move on to the new canon. And it's interesting. I wonder how much legs that actually has for this new canon.
You know what? You're not wrong, because let's just say theoretically, there is nothing that shows that this is even potentially true. But let's just say hypothetically, there is some sort of Ahsoka series in development. Much like this potential Obi-Wan series, what are we going to get from this that we didn't already have or that we need, as far as Star Wars canon goes, especially in the life of Ahsoka? If you look, things are pretty well covered. I know we're still getting a couple episodes of Clone Wars, but we know what happens immediately after that to her. Like right after this Clone Wars season 7 ends, because we just recently read the Ahsoka novel. Right. And this Dark Disciple really had me thinking too, because, what are we talking about this week?
Dark Disciple?
Yes, we're going into the Dark Disciple novel. And it actually got me thinking a lot about like the Clone Wars as a whole and how much we've seen of it now between all of these novels, the TV show, the movies, and everything else. And it feels like we are getting to the point where we're going to be complete with this story. Like there's nothing left within the confines of the Clone Wars story to tell, and I'm thinking the same for Ahsoka.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's like it's like a freight train of inevitability that's getting ready to happen with the end of all these storylines. And, it's what we lacked in closure from the Rise of Skywalker. If people genuinely feel that way, I don't know why you just burp on the air. That's what I do.
Kristen mentions that, by the way.
I do.
I told you. She takes note every time you do that, and
it's a Rick and Morty thing. I try to make a disgusting burp and try and talk through it, just like he does.
Now it's anytime anybody burps in our house, it's like, "Who are you, Dave?" So. But anyway, we digress.
Yes.
So
like we tend to do.
Right, but with an Ahsoka series, like what are they going to give us that we need or that we haven't seen yet? I'm sure they can make up some shit that will be entertaining, but we know her journey up to and including the end of Return of the Jedi with, Rebels and everything else. So if you want to push that timeline forward, if you want to go, all right, what's up with her and Sabine looking for fucking Squiggly Joe,
Right.
So
Squiggly Joe. What I see, there was some meme out there that had Dave Filoni, like somebody holding Dave Filoni for ransom or something. Or no, it was an Uno game that had Dave Filoni playing Uno. And it was like, you can either tell us where Ezra is, or you can draw 25. You see him, he's got like 30 cards like this. So it would be nice to get some closure as far as Thrawn, far as Ezra, because they're both presumed alive somewhere in the ether.
Yep. The space whales took him somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking space whales. Jesus Christ.
But again, we digress.
Yeah.
So, do you want to talk about?
At least we digressed into some Star Wars shit.
I know it's been almost all Star Wars talk up to this point. We'll see if we can fix that. But let's talk about a Star Wars actor for a second, because Adam Driver has been under fire over the last week or so.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Is this a real? I mean, so I saw this article yesterday. The whole Adam Driver. What was the fucking hashtag? It was like Adam Driver is
canceled.
No. That's not what the hashtag was. It was something else. Adam Driver's over or something is over or some shit like that. Well, let's listen. This is what was put out there was some fucking douche nozzle decided that because Adam Driver said he joined the Marines because of 9/11, that he was an Islamophobe and that he should be fucking one of these people, one of these celebrities that needs to be cast aside. Well, those fucking apparently looking at it like on Reddit, there was it was a bunch of K-pop trolls.
Oh God!
I don't even know what the fuck K-pop is. Is that like
that's like
Korean
pop? Yeah, but
that's
like
exactly
mostly,
what Okay.
Yeah, but I think it's like mostly like young Korean chicks. It's kind of like their version of Britney Spears kind of thing.
But that was the thing. Like, it was like all these K-pop people were like, "Hey, Adam Driver is over. Hashtag check out my fucking stream" type bullshit, right? So, A, it's not legitimate anyway. But B, for anybody that even thought for a second, like just think for a second that right now there's a generation of people in the military that were not born when 9/11 happened. Okay,
Fucking wild to think about.
That is a fucking reality, and we are still engaged in hostile, in conflict in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
So those people, there are people in the squadron I work for right now that are fucking at war with a country for the entirety of their lives. We've been at war.
Yeah.
Right. And they're still joining. They're joining for the military for whatever reasons draw them to their service. But that's what they did. So Adam Driver, post 9/11, fucking the towers falling, his entire world. Like this, he was at that age where he could go and he wanted to serve his country. So he fucking went and joined the goddamn Marines. It's not like he went to the fucking Air Force and was driving a SWAT truck on the fucking flight line in Minot. No, he joined the fucking Marines. So if you want to sit there with your K-pop fandom or whatever the fuck you are, and you want to call this individual an Islamophobe because he decided to serve his country after the biggest punch in the fucking mouth we had gotten since 1937, go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself so hard that you will impregnate the people around you from the fucking just oozing of fucking just awfulness that could possibly. Like, I can't even. It so goes against the fact that they're fucking exploiting a hashtag like this to be able to get their fucking thing out there, right? And to use a generality like that, there are definitely Islamophobes out there, and those people are bad people. Like they're not. They didn't join the military. They may very well have joined the military because like, I want to fight against the Nation of Islam or whatever. Those people usually don't survive.
And honestly, I think those people are very few and far between. If anybody actually joined the military for that purpose, you're talking like maybe a dozen in hundreds of thousands of military members.
And listen, even if you went and you became an infantryman in the United States Army, the chances of you actually going and getting to fucking pop one off in a Muslim territory are they're not as big as you may think.
Right. And oh, by the way, like a lot of the countries that we stage out of in order to fight these wars are other Islamic countries. So, we have a lot of allies over there too.
Yeah, so this whole like brandishing of an Islamophobe because this person in the prime of their life, like as their 18, 19-year-old kid, watched his country get attacked, and his first impulse was to go and fucking fight back. That person, that Adam Driver, you get immediately put a little bit higher on my fucking pedestal. Because you didn't just fucking say, yeah, you know what? This is bad. I wish there was something I could do. No, you went and said, there is something I can do, and I'm going to go fucking do it. And I'm going to go do it with the fucking United States Marine Corps, which is the hardest branch of the military to fucking have to wade through basic training and everything else. Like, and knowing full well that that's the case, knowing that full well, this is the person that most likely is going to be the pointy end of the fucking spear, still went and fucking did it and backed it up. That in my book deserves all of the accolades.
Yeah.
And again, granted, we're a specialized audience, right? We're veterans. We've been serving since the fucking mid 90s between the two of us. There's, almost 50 years of military service between the two of us. So obviously we're going to be a little bit biased, but
sure.
I would hate to think that we're even a glimpse of a path that we could be going down in our society that would say that the youth that joined the military right after 9/11 they're to be fucking treated in any other way than as fucking national heroes in my book.
Right.
But what the fuck do I know? Like, I honestly, like, it's two people that sit here and we fucking, Jason's still in. I did my time. We fucking put ourselves out there. We put ourselves in the fucking harm's way. And so fuck them. Fuck their fucking hashtag. God, I want to just fucking, I want to run. You know what I want to do? I want to get a fucking 10 speed. And I want to go run them over. Like, like hit a little ding, 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 like, oh, look, your little fucking hashtag, bam, just hit him, going 25 miles an hour with a 10 speed.
And that's all we've got to say about that. So, we ready to roll right into our weeks then?
Absolutely.
All right. So, I know I talked last couple of weeks. I was not really in the best mental state. I finally have started to get over that. I think it was like maybe Thursday or Friday. Something kind of clicked and I finally started feeling a little more normal. I wasn't so down. The weather hasn't been fucking helping. The weather is still no. You want to keep being depressed? Come on, we're gonna keep it cold and we're gonna keep it rainy for you. We had one good day this weekend, and I actually mowed my fucking lawn for the first time in months. I think it was Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday it was decent. Then it turned into dog shit again. It's like April showers bring May flowers, right? So, but usually throughout the day we're occupied in a commute and in fucking being on base and doing all that shit. Whereas now there's no commute. We're already home. We're looking for reasons to go outside because we can't do anything else. Yeah. And it's been fucking, it's just going to be gray and raining and go fuck yourself. And we're getting a whole lot of that.
Yeah. But despite that, I'm actually feeling a lot better. I still haven't worked. Yeah. I haven't worked out in about 2 weeks still, but I'm thinking in my mind, all right, tomorrow I know exactly how I'm going to get back into it. Well, I would if I didn't actually have to go into fucking work tomorrow. So we had this rotating schedule where, twice a week, somebody has to be there to monitor stuff. And tomorrow is my turn. And it's the first time in over a month. Those of you watching on YouTube, if you can see, I've got quite the scruff going that I got to shave off either tonight or first thing tomorrow morning.
It is. There's a lot more gray in his scruff than there is in mine.
There is a lot of gray in this. It's like every time it grows out, it's just a little more gray.
Yeah.
My entire chin is completely gray now, and now the cheeks are starting to get it too.
So and honestly, it's one of those things you can look forward to in retirement, where it's like, if I decide to keep this, then fine.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is happening. When I retire, the shaving will be done, except for the neck. I got to clean it.
You got it.
Neck
beard, the neck. That's just fucking. No, you got to do that.
But yeah, the fucking the shaving every day, that shit's over as soon as I retire. And if any new potential employers want me to shave every day, then they won't be my employers.
You're looking for different employment. That's
exactly.
Words.
So something else that happened with me. So I think I mentioned a couple weeks ago, I was considering using part of my stimulus check, thanks Trump, for a new gaming computer. Well, I pulled the trigger, bought a computer, and when I buy computers, I don't fuck around. I get the best that's available at the time. So I spent a little extra, and I got the best processor available, the best video card available, the most RAM I could shove into a single motherboard. And now I'm looking for suggestions, because the problem is the types of games that I play right now don't really tax the PC that much. It's like, your Old Republics, your World of Warcraft, the Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4, those aren't really top of the line anymore. So I'm looking for any suggestions. So any hardcore PC gamers out there, like, what are the games that are out right now that really push your fucking system to the absolute limits? Because I want to get one and I want to try it when this new computer comes in.
I know, looking on Reddit, the specs for the new flight sim came out. And it's going to require a pretty serious computer. I've been looking at pricing into that.
Yeah.
Into a build. Did you build your own, or did you just fucking do a la carte? How'd you end up doing it?
Well, I mean, I buy from a company. They're called cyberpowerpc.com. I've been buying computers from them for since before we met each other, I think. And you go on and you just tell them what you want. They assemble it. They install everything to your specifications.
Nice.
And this way I don't have to, I can build a computer myself if I want to. I just don't want to. I mean, obviously now is the best time to do it, working from home and all that, but I'd still rather somebody else do it, just in case I fuck something up, This way, the responsibility is on them.
No confidence in your own abilities. I see how it is.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things I've talked to my therapist about, is my confidence levels. But anyway, that's another story. So, yeah. So, anybody has any suggestions beyond Flight Sim? I'm all ears. So, tell me what the high end PC games are right now.
I know a lot of people are I don't necessarily know how taxing it is on the machines, but I know people are playing the Call of Duty Modern Warfare game on it.
Is that the new one?
Yeah,
Okay.
it has the Warzone thing, and which is
right.
which is good. Like, but the rendering for the Xbox is like, you could see where I could see a high-end video card where the rendering would be even better.
Yeah.
Like, they spared no expense. Like, that for Call of Duty, they like, when you're walking around, and you're looking at like a vending machine. You can look into the vending machine and see each one of the items has like a printed name and label and everything else. Like,
Damn.
It reminds me a lot of Battlefront. Like, not Battlefront 2, Battlefront 1,
right?
Where everywhere you walk, there was some level of detail that just blew your mind.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I find in the Call of Duty game. The rendering that they did is excellent. And I really enjoy the suggestions right now that are popping up from
Bronco Fett. He's got some really good ideas. He suggests Minecraft, Pong. So
yeah, the way I'm set up here at the house, I'm having a tough time tracking the chat, for better or for worse, because usually I'm super distracted by the chat anyway. So this is probably why we're actually running somewhat smoother, because I can't necessarily see
it. So, but that's really it for my week. Just been teleworking still, and I as much as I do like being home, I like working from home. I am ready for this to be over. It's kind of like
you and a lot of other people, brother.
Yeah, and again, I have all the sympathy in the world for those people who are, straight up out of work right now because of this. And hey, I want you guys to get back to work just as much as, I'm ready to get back. So hopefully our individual states will do this wisely, but quickly, and we can all carry on with our lives. But I was telling Kristen, all right, this is my last thing for real. I was telling Kristen this morning, because we're just talking about how just fucking weird life is right now. We're going to get to the end of 2020, right? It's going to be New Year's Eve 2020. And we're all going to look at each other and go, what the fuck was all that? Because I think this whole year is going to be a strange, mucusy blur. And we're going to look back on it and we're going to be like, what was that? That whole fucking year of 2020 was just a... Ugh.
Jason, without getting too far into it, I hope that we look back. Well, I think what you're going to do is you're going to look back, and this is going to be such a pivotal moment. And I only hope it's as benign as what you're describing.
Yeah.
Like, that's my hope.
Mm-hmm.
This is truly, like, you speak about, talking to your therapist. I've talked to my therapist. I've been fairly open about my mental health challenges, and right before the podcast, I was working with my my therapist, and I it's not weird to think, like, there's two ends of the spectrum that we can go to, and I tend to go through them sometimes 3-4 times throughout the day, from one side of it to the other. Is the holy fuck how fucked everything is right now, and then the other side of that is how normal everything is considering how fucked everything is. You know what I mean? So, and it's perfectly normal to think that way. It's like, oh, right. We are so conditioned, right? Jason and I in particular, from being aviators, going through survival school, we are so conditioned for preparing ourselves for the worst case scenario.
Mm-hmm.
I think that when we're not being tortured, like when we're not in some sort of physical like torture where like we're not shoved in a box, we're not being having fucking being thrown around a room and being punched in the gut. It's one of those things where I think we're uniquely conditioned for, okay, this isn't the worst day ever. It's bad. It's fucking it's bad for a lot of people, but it's for us in particular. This isn't as bad as that was. And I think that's why we went through that training, is because they wanted us to be able to fucking see that no day is going to be as bad as that day was. Think about the Naval SEALs. The Naval SEALs? Really? Wow. don't know what. Yeah, the naval SEALs, just like naval oranges.
Right.
The Navy SEALs who like they go through Hell Week and everything else that, you know, you're testing your body, you're testing your brain. It's as much of a mental challenge as it is anything else. And, you know, that saying where the easiest day was yesterday, you know, you go through that so that you could go, into the hardest scenario and realize that it's not as bad as that was. So I credit our ability to fucking get through this a little bit because we have that military service. And for those of you that might be listening that are struggling right now, you know, reach out. There's tons of people. There's tons of resources out there right now that are available via telephone because they have to telework. There's probably more people available now than would ever be because they don't have to worry about office space. You know, all they need to worry about is having a point-to-point conversation. So, call a 1-800 number. You know, Google something. Send a text. You know, reach out. Don't be afraid to do that because this is like Jason and I are here. We're having fun. We're doing our podcast thing. You know, we're entertaining ourselves as well as anyone else who cares to listen. But at the end of the day, you know, if we can take you out of your whatever you're going through for an hour or so, awesome. But don't be afraid to reach out because it works. It works.
Yep. Everything he said, I agree. And that being said, why don't we move right into your week, Dave?
Here, as I drink after my therapy session, that tells you how well it went.
It's a good sign.
Yeah. So, yeah, Lunar Girl mentioned in the chat how it was if I made it through my my gauntlet of fucking presentations and case studies and quizzes, and I got 95% through that. I pushed the suspense off. I'm willing to take an L on one of those things to fucking get a break today. Like, best way I can describe kind of like my situation is like mentally is I've been in the doldrums, right? The doldrums are like if you're on a sailing ship crossing the fucking Pacific and all of a sudden there's no wind, there's no current, you just sit there and you get the sun beating down on you. You can't go anywhere until the fucking wind picks back up and you're able to travel. That's kind of where my brain's been. There's a lot of shit that I should be doing and I just can't because you know, for reasons, you know, everything that's fucking going on, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm halfway through the semester. You know, I'm so close to the finish line. I'm really staggering through it, but I'm pushing through.
So, how much more do you have after this semester?
All I have is my capstone. That's it.
That's it.
That's like one class. And honestly, that one class is basically writing a 25-page paper or whatever the fuck it is. I don't even know. So this is the brunt work. You know, this is the getting through these classes so that I can get to the capstone and fucking just go. So yeah.
Helmet Fire just said in the chat, boots, marching up and down again. Holy shit, man. I don't know if you were in survival school when they were playing that. I have that ingrained in my brain and it will always be there.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I swear to like when I'm in a really quiet room and my tinnitus is going that I could hear the alarm clock going because they would blare that for like, you know, 5-6 hours. Just memories.
The way they would fuck with your head. But we digress. Carry on with your week.
Yeah, so started a new job today, this morning. They plugged me back into the Matrix. I raised my right hand yet again to you know, and took an oath to defend the Constitution yet again. So I'll tell you, again, we talked about, I'm super grateful that I'm in the employee of the government and I'm able to work from home and do those things. But um, the reality of starting at ground zero again and working to the next, like 20 years in the military went by pretty fucking quick. I mean, all of a sudden I turn around and there was 20 years fucking behind me, right? So to think that I'm starting on basically another endeavor to do that again, it's very strange. It's a strange, like, especially with the reality of what's going on around us. To be in that place is very fucking strange. So again, I'm grateful to have the opportunity. I'm grateful to fucking serve. I'm, working for the Department of the Air Force. So yeah. So here's to that. And I'd put in the notes, fucking fuck this weather. Honestly, it's like, there's a window behind me that has a fucking American flag behind it right now because it was set up for when I took I took via VTC the swear-in. And I would be standing out and looking out that window, fucking just like, it's just shitty, just like gray and shitty. And my grass needs to get mowed. And I it's 50 degrees outside. Just like, oh my God. Like, and I guess it's part of getting older because I feel like in my mid 40s that I should be already like, yeah, this is what April is like. But everything old is new again.
Right.
Like, you get to a certain age where like everything is just like, I don't know if it's just the recorded memory, like those penguins just go away.
I think that could be part of it, or the fact that just as we age, we are more and more sensitive to the changing in the seasons.
Just everything hurts. Like I have this weird fucking, my knee is like being plucked like it's being hit with a fucking guitar pick. I'm just looking forward to having just 2 days in a row of decent weather. If we could do
that would be nice.
That would be nice. Like not one day where it's like kind of in the mid 60s and all of a sudden everybody's the fuck outside, and then the next day it's fucking 45 degrees and raining. Like come the fuck on. I hear out in Arizona it's fucking $103 out there. But it's a dry heat. Heat.
It is a dry heat.
Excuse me.
I don't know if I want 103 heat, but
at 103 heat in April is impressive. I mean, I would think that right now in like the Phoenix Scottsdale area where all those golf courses are, that they're not used to it being a fucking 103 right now. So, but shit's weird, man. The whole fucking thing is weird. And like, people are going to search for blame. Like they want to be able to point a gun at the fucking blame. Who the fuck do I shoot because this sucks so bad? Between the weather and the fucking climate change and all this shit. There's nobody to shoot. It be what it be.
It's Wuhan's fault. That's who it is.
There you go.
Blame Wuhan.
The Bronco Fett's knee can predict the future. Yes. That is unfortunately most of my body parts, especially my sinuses. The best barometer, most calibrated barometer in existence is right here, right in my fucking forehead. And last thing I wanted to bring up, fucking NFL draft just happened.
Yeah.
Speaking of non-Star Wars nonsense, NFL draft just happened. And Eagles drafted a Boise State Bronco.
Yeah, I saw that.
Welcome to Philly, Hightower. We got a wide receiver from Boise State. So I'm looking forward to see what this kid can get. It was a strange fucking draft, man.
It was.
Strange draft.
And our teams had a little interaction too, which had me scratching my head a little bit. Not going to lie, but okay. Maybe it'll be mutually beneficial. And
maybe. But really what's for Eagles fans, it was the fucking drafting of a goddamn quarterback. Like,
yeah.
And
I saw everybody losing their shit on social media.
Dude, I don't get it. I tried to rationalize it. Project for Dougie P. Cool. I don't think you go for him in the second round. I mean, this is the All Things Star Wars podcast, not the All Things NFL podcast. However, it was nice for one weekend to actually have a reason to turn on sports.
Yeah. Now, here's the question, getting back to the COVID-19 and all that. are we going to have a normal NFL season? Like, is shit going to be back to normal in time for fucking preseason and then, football or even college for that matter? Because college starts before the NFL. So,
dude, I have no idea. You figure, I have no idea. I can speculate. I mean, my speculation would say that we're going to see, come late July, early August, when you start having mini camps and shit like that, that because of the limited amount of people that would be involved in that you might get away with something. Maybe you keep the offenses and defenses split and work in two different facilities. I'm sure thankfully you're talking about 32 teams in the NFL. College, much larger impact. I know there's a lot of Broncos got his BSU season tickets. My daughter's still up at State College. I'm sure she would like to go back and see more games this year. Sure. I don't know. I just, all I can do is hope at this point that I've lost baseball for the year, most likely. There's a lot of people that are talking about baseball coming back in some form or fashion. It's not going to be the same. It'll be like a strike, Penn State. It's going to be like a strike season for baseball. Like think back to 94, that strike shortened season.
94.
So, it's devastating. I mean, I even talked about it today with my therapist. Like, for me, that the soothing, going out in the yard and having in my headphones baseball game playing, listen to it on radio. That to me is summer. Summer is my jam, and to not have the boys of summer be playing and being able to go to fucking games and eat hot dogs and fucking, it's devastating. However, it is what it is. Yeah. So I'm really keeping my fingers crossed as a huge college football fan and a huge NFL fan. I hope that we can get some normalcy by then, but all we can do is wait and see.
Yeah, because what have we lost so far? I'm pretty sure NBA is done, right?
Oh, yeah. NBA,
NHL. March Madness got completely canceled.
Oh, yeah.
Billions. Yeah, NHL. And
billions of dollars gone.
And at a minimum, you're going to lose at least, half the baseball season? At a minimum.
Well, that's the thing, too. Like, because even if they decided, like, okay, let's start baseball in June, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. We're going to have a shortened season, blah, 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 blah. You need to get those dudes working out. Like, they've been doing individual, workouts, whatever you can do at home. Mm-hmm. It's, Usain Abuse brought up a lot. He lost NASCAR, Formula One, golf, and baseball. Like, golf is a big one, too. Like, not having the Masters over Easter. That's a big one for me. But, no, fuck, I lost my train of thought. What was I talking about?
Losing baseball, losing all these other sports.
I mentioned that. Anyway, yeah, it just sucks. It just sucks. I was making a point, and I got derailed because I looked at the chat. See, I shouldn't look at the chat.
You can't blame me. I didn't say a thing.
Oh, my God. It's all your fault, Jason.
All right. Anyway, we ready to move on? You done with your week? We done bitching about sports and COVID?
Hey, we haven't brought up sports in a long time. It was
nice to be able
to have something to talk about as far as sports goes. And yes.
All right. Fair enough. So I don't really need to take a break right now, so we can just keep pressing forward.
Yeah.
So moving right along to our main topic, Dark Disciple. This novel came out in 2015, so we're a little behind on this, but
we shit.
Right. We as a podcast are a little bit behind on this.
The proverbial we. I got you.
Yes. But it's a very unique chapter in the Clone Wars saga because this closes the book on the character Ventress and I guess the Quinlan Voss character. See, now here's the thing. Going into this, I was not familiar with him at all. I know he'd appeared in a couple episodes of Clone Wars, but those might have been some episodes that we had skipped. But yeah, very unique piece of Star Wars canon that takes place in the Clone Wars era. Kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier, how we've gotten so much Clone Wars canon as part of the whole Disney Star Wars, which is good. Like this, I think this is an important piece of it. And for God's sakes, if you have any interest in reading this book or listening to the audiobook and you don't want spoilers, please turn off the podcast and go read or listen to it.
Yeah,
but
we're gonna spoil the shit out of this thing.
Right. Now we're not gonna go like fucking beat for beat in this thing, but we are gonna cover some pretty major plot points. And it starts off, well, first of all, I did the audiobook, right? I got the audiobook narrated once again by the fantastic Mark Thompson. And which you can tell, by the way, though, you can tell this is some of his earlier Star Wars work because his voices are a little bit different. Yeah, it's because this was 2015. So like he's really kind of upped his game over the last few years, especially once he started doing the Thrawn books.
Right.
But, you know, you could tell he was kind of early in trying to find, you know, the voices for the characters and everything. Some of the characters, too, were pretty terrible. Some of them were fucking spectacular. Like his Anakin is spectacular. Even his Ventress voice as a man doing the female Ventress voice was believable.
I can see that. I can see him doing that. I didn't listen to the book, but I can totally see him.
Yeah, his Yoda was phenomenal. Like I'm sitting here thinking, like they got the voices from the Clone Wars to do this, but no, every voice was done by Mark Thompson, and he's just great. And his Mace Windu, he got an A for effort, but his Mace Windu was bad. Like it was almost offensively bad. To where like it sounded like he was trying to use this like stereotypical Southern black man voice, but it was like this weird, like, oh, I do declare, you know, we got to go and get and I'm just like, what the fuck?
So he was channeling a little Foghorn Leghorn to do Mace Windu.
Something, man.
Surprise! No, that's not Foghorn Leghorn.
Yeah,
part of it.
Bronco Fett said he kind of sounded like Lando, and yeah, maybe that's kind of where the confusion is. But
it's in my taste,
right? But it was not Mace Windu. I think I wrote down one other voice too. We'll get to it, but yeah, that was a little off. But yeah, mostly terrible Mace Windu. I'm like, oh god,
there's a lot of characters in this book, so I can see trying to. Holy shit. Oh my god, that yawn came out of nowhere. Trying to make a voice for all of these characters that are in this thing, I can see that being a challenge. You know, for anybody, even a guy of Mark Thompson's character.
Right. Yeah, and I understand that. Like
character caliber.
Yeah, it's a lot to ask. Like, do all these voices and do them accurately for all of these different actors of different ages and different, you know, acting styles and everything. Do them all and do them correctly. Monkey dance. So you know, it's a lot to put on his shoulders, but overall, fantastic job as always. This guy, there's a reason why they go to this guy for all of these fucking books because, yeah, he's fucking just phenomenal at this. So. Getting right into the plot of the book, it's right out of the gates. It starts off pretty intense with Dooku and the Separatists slaughtering a bunch of occupants of a certain planet that they're trying to take over. It starts off with like some little girls on a ship trying to get out, and eventually he fucking blows up the ship and all kinds of mass murder, right? And then flash over to the Jedi Council, and they're like, "Fuck, he did it again." You know, Dooku's like, he's just like fucking shit wrecking everything. He's causing millions of deaths. We got to do something. And eventually, I think it was between Anakin and Mace Windu. They're like, let's just fucking assassinate him. Let's send somebody in and just fucking kill Dooku already. So the whole premise of the book is the Jedi Council trying to assassinate fucking Count Dooku. Which is mind-blowing when you think about it. But as we've discussed over the 3 years of the life of this podcast, the Jedi Council was really kind of fucked up and, you know, not as good. And yeah, not as good and clean as they were, led to believe.
I think they had to compromise their values at in so many levels, and again, following the infallible fucking leadership of Master Yoda, and it leads them to these milestones. They're like, holy fuck, dude, how did you not see this coming? The one question I have for where we are in the timeline for the book,
yes,
I left a copy of the book at the studio, so I don't have the timeline.
So I can give you a good idea if you're
go.
If that's what you're asking. So at one point during this book, well, first of all, the book goes over the course of several months from where it starts to where it ends, because you get this section in the middle end where, spoiler alert, fucking Quinlan Voss gets taken by Count Dooku and gets manipulated and everything else, and is working with Dooku for what they said was a few months. But at one point early on in the book, before all that happens, they referenced what's her name? Ahsoka's little green-skinned friend who ended up betraying her, Barriss Offit. Yeah. They mentioned that betrayal and, her fucking framing Ahsoka, and then, Ahsoka fucking off from the council. They mentioned that in this. So it has to take place at some point between the end of season 5 and where we are in season 7. Some of it could probably be going concurrently with what's going on in season 7, which, oh my God.
Well, okay. So that makes sense. Before you get onto that train of thought, you have Ventress, who they basically, find her in a goddamn bar. She turned into a fucking drunk.
Right.
A drunken fucking
bounty hunter.
Yeah. And that's where she's found in season 7.
Yeah.
Right? No.
That was
season 5. That was season 5. So
that was the Barriss episodes. It was right. Ahsoka and Barriss went to the 1313 and found her down there.
Right. 1313.
Yes.
Doesn't come off the tongue the same way that 94 does.
94.
Yeah. I just, the timing of everything, you saw the Jedi Council was at its most we don't know what the fuck we're doing moment. They're just totally fucking shooting from the cuff.
Yeah.
And the fact that they let a fucking Jedi Master get turned to the dark side, spoiler alert, at all, it just is dumbfounded.
Right. And the fact that the whole time that they're having these back and forth debates about, oh, we should assassinate him. Well, that's not really the Jedi way. Yoda's sitting there oh, to a dark place this goes. He's making all these, general statements. But at the end of the day, he still lets him go and fucking do it. So
go to a dark place. Fuck it.
Yeah. It's
nothing else is working.
He's like, oh, yes, this is taking us down the primrose path. But then he still lets it happen when he could just say, no, we're not doing that. We're better than that. Fuck that. But no, he lets it happen. And that's where everything kind of, yeah. And
so the reason I bring up the timeline specifically is to bring up this point. So you have Dooku after you get this small engagement with Kenobi, as the Clone Wars is just beginning, where Mace Windu makes comments that says there's Dooku was a Jedi. It's not his character, for assassinating and shit. You go from that to motherfuckers committing genocide.
Yeah,
in all fucking ass facets of it. So it wasn't a slow burn to fucking get Dooku to this point. Dooku fucks up Kenobi and Skywalker, and then goes in and just says, fuck this, man. It's all fucking fire and brimstone from this point forward.
He's a political idealist, not a murderer.
Right.
Yeah.
That tweet didn't age well.
Yeah. I don't sense anything.
Right.
And again, just shows you just how fucking clueless
They
the
were.
Jedi Council were leading up to this whole fucking conflict.
Hey, how much further could you be played by Palpatine? Could you imagine sitting in fucking Force Ghost fucking cantina where you're like, oh, everyone's chilling and watching the fucking living, going like, oh shit, don't put that in your mouth. Oh my god. And then they're all talking about it like, man, we really didn't see any of this coming, did we? Like, yeah, we suck. Holy shit.
Yeah.
And you got like older Jedi going like, you motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Like we spent thousands of years and millennia building up the fucking Republic, and then you fuckers just decide to stick your heads up your ass. Like Mr. Cone fucking head. Yeah, jammed it right up Mace Windu's ass. Like
it's the ultimate definition in complacency, you know? They're just like, we're good, man. Things have been all cool in the gang for 1,000 years. Nobody's gonna fuck with us. We're up here on our fucking pedestals.
Yeah. Anybody see that dark side thing? No, forget it. It's not important. Not important. Yeah. I thought I felt something, but we're all good.
Yeah, no. So I don't even know where to begin with a lot of this. I guess we can kind of get over the generals. They decide they're going to assassinate Dooku, and immediately they're like, well, we got this Quinlan Voss guy, Jedi Master, likes to do undercover jobs, kind of a dick, and, he kind of tiptoes a little bit on that line where it's like, all right, he's probably our guy,
Right.
If any of us is going to assassinate somebody, it's probably going to be him. And then Obi-Wan gets the idea, well, hey, let's pair him with fucking Ventress. She's tried multiple times. In fact, they reference these Clone Wars episodes that we just fucking watched over the last couple of months. The ones where fucking Ventress joins the Night Sisters, and then where she trains up Savage. Like, all of these are referenced pretty heavily in this book, which is fucking great that we just watched all of those.
Poignant that if we're going to be late, we might as well be late to the party with everything.
I know, right? So and again, that's the beauty of the Disney Star Wars. Talk shit about it all you want. They have done a phenomenal job of interlinking all of these pieces of canon between books, fucking TV shows, novels, movies, all of it. They have done such a great job of making everything fucking work. You can credit Disney, Lucasfilm, the Keepers of the Holocron, whoever is ultimately in charge of all that. Phenomenal job.
You know what I miss right now? I miss like one of my old headsets from the jet. Like this headset right now hurts my fucking ears. Like having it on for almost an hour, and like my ears are just like, they're like, fuck this.
Yeah.
And the sound quality is much better out of this microphone, so I'm going to keep. If I'm going to be remote, I'm going to keep using it. But like, fuck my ears. God damn it. Like, poor little tiny ears.
Yeah, and Bronco Fett mentioned it earlier. He called it this book Ventress in Love, and that's what a large portion of this is. It's once they pair Quinlan Voss and Ventress together, obvious attraction right from the get-go based on their personalities. We know Ventress is just like a walking sex pot.
Oh yeah,
like she just exudes sexuality.
Yeah, she flirts with the fucking droids, for God's sakes.
Yeah, so like, and Obi-Wan even warned Voss beforehand, like, hey, she does this kind of stuff, just be mindful of it. And, Voss is just like, yeah, I'm good. And like immediately he's fucking enthralled with her.
Who would it be?
Right.
Who would it be? Unless you're like some sort of racist that's like not into white people. Like literally white, like not pasty people, like white.
Like, like a ghost almost. Yeah.
Like the white of white, like the color white, all of light together is black. No, all of light together is white.
No.
It's the absence of light is black. Right?
I don't fucking know.
Yeah. Yes.
Science. So anyway,
a good years into it, and we're going with fucking shitty prismatic science.
Right. And a good portion of this is the two of them and their attraction to each other and basically falling for each other. Ventress fights it a lot longer, and we get into more of her backstory too. where she's really a fucking actually both of them, fucking Quinlan Voss and fucking Ventress, they both have very tragic stories when you look at them at a whole, and then what they go through in this book, because she mentions throughout the course of this how she's had all of these attachments in the past, people that she was close to that have all been like fucking killed or have kicked her ass to the curb at one point or another. And she went into this with a lot of reservations. Like, you know, she did not want to let go and let this happen. For the longest time, she fought it.
Asajj Ventress would be a perfect character to have a backstory for. Yeah. Way better than a Cassian Andor, because you could take, like, we've gotten tidbits of her story, right? But we don't have the whole story,
right? So
you could give me elements of Asajj Ventress. Just fresh posts. They're tragic because they probably never celebrated Life Day. Probably. See, devastating to all. Who do not celebrate Life Day. Anyway, I just think like Ventress and the tragedy of her character really goes to show for me that like they need to spend more time on developing and one of the dark side characters that's not Darth Vader. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that's a serious, like, why haven't we still yet to see like the Darth Bane flushed out into some sort of material other than the print, right? And even then, it's like it's very loose in the canon right now. Yeah. You know, why do we not develop these dark side characters? Which like for Ventress, ultimately, like she kind of turns to the light.
Yeah.
Towards the end of it, like it's the tragedy of her youth and going and being drawn towards the dark side as a survival mechanism, if anything else. You know, that tragedy ultimately, you know, she's good, as they represent, like when her and Kenobi go, or when Voss and Kenobi go to take her back to Dathomir. But yeah, I just like Ventress is one of those characters. I'm like, yeah, I want to see more. I want to see more. I want to see this character more developed, and not just in the books. This is a character that you could have spent a lot more time putting more of a face to the name.
Yeah.
And I'm going to stop now. Basically, what I want is some fucking hot gymnast to be fucking throwing themselves around as Ventress.
Yeah,
that's what I want. I mean, let's face it.
Yeah, and throughout the course of this book, we go to a lot of familiar places. We go to Obadiah and the fucking Pikes, which we just saw a couple episodes ago in season 7 of the Clone Wars with fucking Ahsoka and the lesbian sisters.
Right.
So, you know, again, a lot of intermixing references. They go to fucking Mustafar at one point in this. Yep. And this is pre-Revenge of the Sith. So this is before, you know, Anakin and Obi-Wan have their fight over there. We visit fucking Mustafar.
You know, when you say Mustafar, just all you have to do is say Mustafar and the fucking music starts from fucking Revenge of the Sith. Yeah. The Anakin and Obi-Wan fight riff. That shit, oh God, it's so good. I get little goose pimples. It's fucking awesome.
And they go to fucking, you mentioned a Dathomir a couple of times in this. Once as Ventress is trying to train Quinlan in more of the darker arts to get him ready to fight fucking Dooku, they go back to Dathomir. They get into a lot of the Night Sister shit. I don't think we saw the episode of Clone Wars that's referenced a lot in this, where I guess Dooku at some point goes back to Dathomir and just fucks the whole Night Sisters clan and just like slaughters them all. Like, I guess we missed that episode of Clone Wars because they referenced that several times in this. Assuming it even happened in Clone Wars.
I thought it happened in a book.
Did it happen in a book? I don't know.
So I don't have my copy, my sacred texts.
The sacred texts. So anyway, but yeah, at some point after she fucking trains up Savage and him and her go and fail to kill Dooku, I guess Dooku came back to fucking Dathomir and just annihilated the whole fucking existence on the planet.
I swear, mm, I'll think of it.
Okay. So anyway, didn't want to get caught up on that, but yeah, and then there's the whole thing where her and him, she trains him up in the ways of the dark side just to make him more powerful because you're going to need some dark side to fucking beat Dooku, which, by the way, they allude to this several times throughout the book. She says only somebody, fueled by the dark side is going to be able to kill Dooku, which is pretty funny considering who eventually does kill him.
Yeah, right.
So, and there's no way that was an accident that they fucking threw that, all those lines in there. Then they go to try to assassinate him, and obviously it fails. And that's the thing, going through all of this, they're not going to kill him because we know what happens.
Right.
So I'm sitting here thinking through the beginning of this book. All right, what's going to happen? Is Dooku eventually just going to just shit can both of these two and they're both going to die? And that's how this fucking book is going to end. I was really curious what was going to happen. And I don't know if you felt the same way, but goddamn, this felt like a really long book. Like when it got to the point where they've had their first failed assassination, I'm thinking, God, this has got to be like 3/4 of the way through.
Yeah, nope.
No, that was like not even halfway through.
You know what? I don't think it was a particularly long book. I just think that it had so much going on in it.
Mm-hmm.
With so much material to reference that you spend time, like if you just sat there just to fucking skim through it, you're not getting what you should be getting out of this book, honestly.
Right, exactly. And we're not doing it nearly enough justice.
Oh, fuck no.
Over the course of the show, but because you've got like Boba Fett and Bosk making a couple of appearances, because I guess Ventress worked with them for a period of time. So
she goes to Tatooine and to fucking hire them again to go get Voss. You have Dooku and fucking you got Dooku captured. They do end up capturing Dooku at one point. I mean,
more than once, I think. There's a couple of times where like him and Voss get captured and then they fucking break free.
Yeah, where they have to cooperate to graduate type thing. Look, there is this book has a lot of moving pieces.
Yes.
And sit down. Don't listen to it at 2x speed. You should be listening to it at so you can pick up on all these little nuances. And this is one thing I liked about reading the paper book. I finished this book fairly quickly, but I tend to read fast anyway.
Yeah.
But I will say that there were definitely times where I just I put the book down. I was like, all right, I need to process this before I move on to the next chapter.
Yeah.
Let me process what I read here and move on to the next chapter, because I love the detail. I love the detail going back into these characters and fleshing out the love story. Like you kind of knew it was coming. They projected it a little bit. Like you had an idea that it was coming, but still, I think that it was very believable.
Oh yeah, yeah. And one of the things that I wanted to focus on, we talked about it a little bit in the beginning with just how fucked up the Jedi Council was to even come up with this idea in the first place. Then again, Voss joins Dooku after the failed assassination attempt. He gets captured. Dooku fucking tortures him and eventually convinces him to go dark side. And now the Jedi Council is getting involved again. And they're like, well, fuck, we got to bring these guys both down. And now they're talking, okay, well, what are we going to do when we capture them? And they decide, like, I think they had already captured Voss at this point, and they're like, you know what? If he doesn't give us any information, or if we still think he's fucking dark side, execution. We're going to execute this fucking guy.
Yeah.
The guy that they fucking sent on this fucking mission to start, the guy that they pulled out of his fucking mission that he was in, you team with this fucking dark side chick, go fucking kill that guy.
A known dark side user.
Yeah.
Known, self-important, like, we'll obviously do what's best for her. We're going to take this person we know is a bad egg, and we're going to choose her over you.
Yeah, and we're going to pair him up.
By the by.
And then, oh, by the way, you failed. You got manipulated by Dooku. Execution. We're now going to fucking execute you because you failed the mission that we sent you to do. It's like, what the fuck? It's so messed up. But again, so in line with the fallacy of the fucking Jedi
Yeah,
Council at this point.
yeah. This is the worst Jedi Council ever. This
Yeah.
is the Donald Trump of Jedi councils. It is the just absolute shooting from the hip, regrettable tweeting,
Yeah.
just absolute fucking just shit show.
Yeah.
That
Don't inject
that
Lysol into your bloodstream, people.
this just like, oh my god. And that's not necessarily to make a political statement. That's more to make a statement about like Twitter, for example. Right. But making decisions that based on half truths, like a reliance on. You know what? Let's take a step back and look at like what Yoda says to Anakin about the future, right? Mm-hmm. And by basically playing to the future, you're basically playing into the dark side. Because what did they do? Like all the things that they thought that, like when Yoda's meditating, right? You think like, well, how's this going to go? Let's use this to improve my decision making and things like that. Their reliance on and trying to be able to predict the future. At one point, it's almost like they didn't have the ability to use the Force at all.
Yeah.
And somebody like Quinlan Vos, who had some unique abilities as a Jedi, like all that shit's completely lost. I mean, we watch in this book and in so many of the other books that to watch basically the downfall of the Jedi. They wrote their fucking own obituary.
Yeah.
Really, when it comes down to it, because they ignored all of the signs that would have told them if they had just taken a step back and not playing to Palpatine's plan, that they would have seen this and be able to stop it. But yeah. Some stuff in the chat talking about books. Luna Girl's looking for reads. Yeah. I told her bring it up at the end of the show, and we'll talk about that a little bit.
All right. So yeah, and the Jedi Council, they're like, yeah, execution. If we catch him, we're gonna try to get some information from him, and then just dead. So, taking a step back too, there was a really intense couple of chapters. I felt after he went off with Dooku, they brought him back and they're like, okay, we've rescued him from Dooku. He says he's good to go. And Ventress is like, no, I sense the fucking dark side in him.
Mm-hmm.
Do not fucking trust him. And he's like, what, buddy? I'm
good. He's the Saddam Hussein. There, he's like convincing the devil, like, yeah, come on, guy.
Yeah, and the Jedi Council, I don't sense anything. Right. We think he's good, and it was the way it was presented was really, really good because it really left you thinking, like, is he fucking back or not?
Right.
And it was. They strung it along for like he went on a couple of missions with the Jedi after this.
Yeah, with Kenobi, with people that should have been able to sense whether or not he had, completely turned.
Yeah, and man, those were really, really well done chapters, I thought. And the conclusion to that little arc, I think, was a good payoff. And again, another good example of the Jedi Council just not knowing what the fuck is going on. This was like Dark Disciple. If anything, it's a love story combined with just a blueprint for how terrible the Jedi Order is.
It did. Like just
shows them at their worst.
Just Fresh put in there, his book made me majorly pissed off at the Jedi. I don't think I've ever been more infuriated, aside from the Space Mexican sisters from season 7.
Well, that makes 3 of us. So.
That's great. Yeah, I don't think we need any more proof that the veil of the dark side had fallen over the Jedi and the Jedi Council long before. And that's that therein lies the problem. And that's why I blame Yoda for everything. Yeah. Is they all look to Yoda to like he was their fucking divining rod to make decisions on whether or not they should fucking do this or that or execute or fucking do this. And like he's going to talk backwards so you can fucking make some, imply something out of it. Yeah. But the reality is that Palpatine really didn't have to manipulate everyone. He just had to manipulate Yoda.
Yeah.
He had to manipulate what the dark side had to fall and basically affect Yoda's judgment, because all the other Jedi, they were just fucking lemmings following whatever Yoda had told them to do. That's why I blame Yoda the most for all this. And there is a bullshit fucking, like, in season 6, like the whole fucking Yoda thread to the end of the season is such fucking nonsense.
Really?
Such nonsense. Oh my God. Like, there's this whole thing with Yoda fighting himself, and wow. But it's trying to, like, you'll have to watch it. You have to.
Right. And again, the funny thing too is, in this book at least, all of these decisions Yoda went along with, where at any point, if he had just put his foot down and been like, no, we're not doing that, then that would have been it. But he let these other people talk him into these lines of thought that, again, he said, oh, disturbing this is, but he let it happen still.
Yoda said, no, should we still do it?
Yeah. Right. But yeah, and this ends up being a very tragic love story. We go to one final conflict between fucking Voss, Ventress, and Dooku, and ultimately it ends with Ventress saving Voss from Dooku's like force lightning. Like, he fucking just and she jumps in front of it, saves Voss.
Right.
Ultimately leads to her death. She had some injuries from some other shit. And this is the end of Ventress's journey.
Yep.
And, she has this like real, existential speech at the end as she's like in the throes of fucking death. And and like you alluded to earlier, like she kind of goes to the light at the very end.
Mm-hmm.
Like she totally fucks off the dark side and, like passes on as like a, part of the light side.
They put her, like, when they go into Dathomir and, basically finish off her tragic story, where it started, and they put her in this pool, which I think isn't it the same pool that Voss had to kill that fucking crab thing?
Yep.
Right, which we glossed over that earlier.
Oh yeah, that was a whole thing. But like her training him to the dark side and convincing him to kill an innocent animal with the Force, and that was some pretty deep shit. Like
it was. There's a part of that where you're just like, yeah, god damn, dude.
Yeah.
Like, this is, like, we've seen dark side training for other people, and it wasn't this. This was some fucked up shit.
Right. Yeah,
this was worse than Bane.
Oh yeah, yeah, and but it was good because it was a good analysis of like how much are you willing to embrace the dark side and forego, everything you've been taught up to this point, to forego your own instincts to fucking take down this Dooku guy.
Yeah.
How much are you willing to sell your convictions? And yeah, it goes really deep into that we're just not going to get into for this episode, but fuck, it's, even though we've kind of spelled out what the plot is, it's still worth a read because, man,
oh god, we haven't touched 95% of this book, to be honest.
Yeah, the audiobook I think was 11 hours. I listened to it over the course of about 3 days, but it kept me enthralled the whole time.
Yeah, I found it to be a very engaging book.
Yes. I'm just pulling it up right now in my
that's what she said.
The burp?
No, the pulling it up.
Yeah, it's about a little over 11 hours total for the audiobook, so definitely worth your time. Something to do during quarantines. Very enjoyable, and I think this was a very good piece of Star Wars Clone Wars canon. It had a really good exit. What do you call the opposite of a preface? Anyway, George Lucas's daughter, who wrote a lot of the Clone Wars, had this thing at the end where she wrote, and she talked about how these were originally supposed to be Clone Wars episodes that she wrote, this Dark Disciple
right?
epilogue.
It was
But
like
it wasn't even an epilogue though, because it wasn't part of the book. It
no,
was just
it was just a addendum,
yeah.
basically, to what they were talking about. But yeah, there was I think it was like a 6 or 8 episode story arc is what they had planned for.
This would have had to be a minimum of 6, like for everything that went on, and they probably would have had to have left a lot out.
Yeah.
But
Well, it would have been great. Like it's one of those things where if you put the treatment, like the Clone Wars treatment that they're currently doing right now with these last Clone Wars episodes, you put that treatment on it, like just the darkness of it. Holy fuck, it would have been good. That would have been must see fucking TV. Not Padme and fucking droid shenanigans for fucking 4 episodes in the middle of the goddamn season.
Or Ahsoka and the lesbian sisters
Mm-hmm.
on Coruscant. You know, we could have completely replaced that with just a retelling of this story. But
you know, I'm surprised that the Star Wars Not Safe for Work Reddit hasn't done more with the those lesbian sisters.
Well, you know, the art takes time. You know, it's not done overnight. So
it's fair. Fair. Although I will say that there is a lot more Bo-Katan in the Not Safe for Work Star Wars Reddit.
Do you look at that a lot?
It's on my main feed, so like as I'm scrolling through it, I'm like, oh, look, it's blurred out, so there must be something good behind there.
Right. That's good. So anything else though to close out Dark Disciple?
No.
I know we didn't get into a lot of the details, but I don't think we really needed to. Just know it was a great fucking story. Yes, there's a lot of love stuff in it, but I think it was worth the read.
It was a good read. I highly recommend it as part of your I personally I think it's one of those must-read books in the canon. Like things that are only based on the canon. There's probably a short list of books that are must-reads as far as the Skywalker saga goes. And, you know, maybe that's something we can get into in the future. But, well, and it would have been made for must-see TV, for sure.
Yeah, and especially for all these Clone Wars nuts that we have. And as part of our group, you know, if you guys are so fanatical about Clone Wars and you haven't read this book, for God's sakes, like this was made for you. This, you know, they take a lot of these characters from all of these Clone Wars episodes and they really kind of bring a really nice closure to the Ventress storyline. It's a shame she couldn't continue, but obviously we don't see her again after Clone Wars. So you knew she was probably going to fucking bite it.
Yeah.
I was perfectly ready for Quinlan Vos to die too, but he did not. He survived to the end of this.
Yeah, surprisingly.
Yeah, but he's a fucking blubbering idiot by the end, which, by the way, Mark Thompson's performance got a little bit ridiculous at the very end when they're fucking burying Ventress. He's like fucking crying, and I'll miss you, and you were everything to me. And oh my God, dude. Wow. Okay, we get it, man.
Yeah.
Like, no, he was
forward to the end. All right, the water turned green. The end.
He was going for the Emmy with this one. So
nice.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'd be curious to see what happened to Vos during Order 66, if he just got fucking iced like the rest of the Jedi or what.
So my question is, what other, like, did we read, like, as far as the Clone Wars series goes, did we go over the book where it's basically the beginning of the Kanan well, I guess it's Rebels. That's more of the beginning of Rebels.
Yeah, that's farther down the line.
I can't think of the name of the book right now. Fuck. It's in that tote that I dropped off at the house. It's in there.
Okay.
I'm sure somebody in the chat can tell us up.
Yeah. Apparently I sounded like Homer Simpson for part of that little. All right, maybe that's a voice I need to work on.
Start working on that.
Yeah, I'll have to rewind the tape and see exactly what I sounded like. So
yeah, good luck with that, because every time I listen to myself to try to do something, it just gets worse. It doesn't get better.
Yeah. So
okay, now what do I click?
Right. Now, audiobooks.
New Dawn. Thank you, Isaac. Isaac came up with it in the chat.
Right.
This is why I love the chat.
Focus. Audiobooks. I still have 5 fucking Audible credits to spend. So what's next? What should I get next as far as a Star Wars audiobook is concerned? It doesn't have to be something we do like within the next few weeks, because in fact, our next few weeks are already spoken for, but
Right.
something I can download now because I have all the fucking credits. Credits will do fine. And
credits will do fine.
No, they won't. And then, I can be ready a month from now when we're like, all right, let's do another book.
Would it be crazy? Would it be crazy to recommend a Legends book? I mean,
not necessarily. Now there are fewer options as far as Legends books go for Audible.
Really?
Yeah. Now let's do this live. Star Wars. I'm just typing Star Wars into fucking Audible. Let's see what it comes up with. Wait, are these the ones that I've already bought? No. Sorry. They have the Revan. They have the Revan book on here.
Okay.
Read by Mark Thompson again.
I thought we already did. We didn't. I've read that book. I don't. Shit.
Are you fucking retarded? No, we have not done Revan. We haven't spoken about Revan really at all in this podcast. Very, very vague references to him. They're still, they're still Master and Commander.
It's not worth burning it, honestly.
No,
I don't think it is.
Yeah. Okay. There's a decent amount of Legend stuff on here, but I think we should do one more canon before we dip into any Legend stuff.
So, Dark Lord, the Rise of Lorth Vader. Wow. Okay.
Are you all right over there? You having a stroke?
Apparently.
I know there's that Lords of the Sith. I saw that in here. There's the Tarkin book. There's your Equation Squadron.
I mean, Alphabet Squadrons has their second book that's coming out in July. So, I mean, that's a possibility.
Yeah, since we're getting cheated out of Thrawn until the fall now.
Right.
So,
I think, I don't know. Let's have this conversation offline.
Okay, fair enough.
We'll
and not just do it live on the podcast.
Right. Well, the benefit of doing it live on a podcast is that we're getting some suggestions in the chat, which is exactly what we were looking for. But I think a little deeper discussion needs to be had as far as that goes.
Okay, fair enough. So that being said,
the Lords of the Sith books.
All right.
Recommendations.
Which I'm pretty sure you said you've read that before too.
I probably have. Look, dude, if it says Star Wars on it and it's a book, I've probably read it.
Yeah. All right. So talking about next week. Next week we are doing for episode 148. It's also our 3rd anniversary episode. We're primarily going to be covering the Clone Wars episodes 10 and 11. Now, we just saw 10 a few days ago. 11 comes out this Friday.
Right.
The final episode airs on May the 4th. So we'll have to do some sort of a special May 4th fucking Clone Wars finale sort of episode. Okay. But yeah, next week we're definitely doing these 2 most recent episodes of Clone Wars. I want to talk about it now so bad. But
yeah, me too.
We will wait.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, we will wait because they're just episode 10 alone. Lots to dip into. Lots to dip into. Oh,
so good when it hits your lips.
Yeah, this was what I've been wanting for this whole fucking season. I'll just say that.
Yep.
So, anything else before we close out?
No.
All right, good. Because I actually have to get up early to shave and actually go to fucking work. So, yeah.
Hey, make sure that if you're in the Philadelphia area, Philadelphia, Trenton area, and up in New York City too. Probably you have to be watching the podcast to make this relevant. But as Jason shows off his beard, you don't get an idea how great it is until you get up close to the camera. The Blue Angels and the Thunderbirds flybys tomorrow. So.
I've been seeing that all over social media, and I'm just like, okay, I've seen them a handful of times before. It's nothing new to me.
Well, you're talking about them both being in the same formation. Like, it's not like a single ship. Like, they're doing two 6-ship formations. So you're getting the Thunderbirds and the Blue Angels flying together, which is pretty cool. And one of the KC-10s is actually doing the refueling.
Nice.
So, yeah, pretty neat stuff. I plan on probably cheating a little bit in my social distancing and getting a little bit closer picture to the skyline. So hopefully, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see some cool pictures tomorrow. Seeing it from northeastern PA, no, most likely not. They are making a countrywide tour, though. So if you're listening to this on via the audio and you haven't heard anything about it yet, there's a really good chance they're going to be coming to a major metropolis near you. Oh, and by the way, understand, like, all you that may not know already know. And if you're listening to this podcast and you made it an hour and 30 minutes into this thing, most likely you probably don't fucking question shit like this anyway. However, when a B-52 does a fucking flyover of a fucking city that's close to their base and it makes the news, they're not spending extra money to fucking go do that flyover. Like, all these things are budgeted. There's something called, you have training hours to fly out. So Blue Angels and Thunderbirds have a budget for them to go fly out this time. So by them not doing air shows and not having to practice air shows and not having to travel, they're actually not spending their budget. So this money's been budgeted since fucking 2016.
Right.
You know, the military works within the confines of the fucking construct of the government. So you're basically force projecting out 4 to 5 years for any of your budgetary spending. So the money that's being spent for these flyovers is not like extra taxpayers' money. Don't get your fucking panties in a twist because it's like, oh, look at the extra money. This should be going to something else. No, that money is dedicated as a line item in the fucking Defense Department's budget for them to do these things. Okay, their mere existence is there for a reason, and that's why they're funded as such. So shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about, you fucking idiots. Like, I'm watching these the fucking comments people are making about the B-29 flyover down in fucking Louisiana. I'm like, you know how fucking close that base is to where they fucking flew over? Like, that crew probably fucking is going to go log. They're going to log a fucking a takeoff and a landing for sure. They're probably going to some fucking air refueling event, or they're going out to a range somewhere to get currency. It's part of their regular fucking training hours. They're not spending extra money. You don't know what you're talking about. Shut the fuck up. Anyway.
And that's all he's got to say about that. So, want to talk a little bit about Podbelly? We haven't talked about Podbelly. Yeah.
Fuck up the whole format of everything. Yes, go to podbelly.com for all of your podcasting needs. You can find us right at the top, I think, because we haven't done Podbelly in like 2 weeks.
You're the Podbelly guy, so...
Yeah, well, apparently if I don't adjust it in the notes, you're just going to fucking gloss over it. So, yes, right at the top, the greatest podcast in the galaxy, the All Things Star Wars podcast, along with dozens of other podcasts that will quench the thirst of your podcasting while in quarantine. And if you go to the listen tab and go to podcast directory, you will also find some of our friends. You will find, apparently I didn't click it. Hang on a second. Let me click it now. Like for reals, yo. Excuse me, as my network takes a second to catch up. Well, anyway, if you go in there and you look for the Friends of the Podcast, the Used and Abused podcast, the ATSW presents the Escape Pod, legitimately, there's like, it's not there now. Like, I'm clicking on the thing and they're not there. You need to get on the phone with your boy.
I do?
Yeah, you do. It's your boy. I mean, I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, go to podbelly.com, support the All Things Star Wars podcast, support our friends at the Use and Abuse pod, at the ATSW Presents the Escape pod.
It's right there. You go to podcast directory. It's the third one.
Look, dude, I hit listen, podcast directory. It's not working. Maybe it's because I'm using Chrome. I don't fucking know.
I'm using Chrome.
It's obviously me. It's user error. I would still get on the phone and be like, "Yo, bitch, dude, seriously, it's not popping up for me." Anyway.
Just pulled it up, so it's not me. It's you.
Like you haven't heard that before.
I've heard it only too well.
So, anyway, that's Podbelly. You will find our friends out there, and you can also support our friends via YouTube. The Sweet Studios line of broadcasting excellence.
Mm-hmm.
You can also get the layman's terms.
Yep.
There on YouTube.
Yep.
Just an excellent late night rant, and our boys Bronco Fett and Orange Shaka guy, who could use your support right now.
Yes.
They're some of our best listeners, and they are going through hard times right now. So keep them in your thoughts and prayers. I'm sure they will appreciate it.
See.
3PO.
All right. And with that, thank you everybody who has supported us on Patreon. Tony Ferrari, Camille Donovan, Nick Jackson, Frederick Martin, Big Lovin, Scott Rasmussen, Tactical Swede, Don Solsky, Shotgun Mark, and Avery Morgan. You are the reason why we do this. And if you want to support the All Things Star Wars podcast, go to patreon.com/ATSW podcast, and you can support us there.
Excellent.
Yes.
If you've stuck it out till this point to get to our Patreon things, we really appreciate it. Don't forget to hit the like button if you're watching us on YouTube.
Do it. Make the sacrifice.
There it is. Oh, see, it came up finally.
Oh, it worked, is what you're saying.
It did work. Yeah. There's the escape pod. And there's the use and abuse guys. All right. Very good. Podbelly.com, folks.
Yes. And good night to everybody. Good night to everybody still in the chat. Lunar Girl, Isaac Sipe, the Used and Abused podcast. Anybody else still in there? Bronco Fed, I think, is still in there. So, yep. But with that, we are signing out. Thank you for joining us. And until next time, Dave, may the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you. Okay, now what do I click?